Hi there, I'm Chef Sam Crannell, and I am cooking here in Naperville, Illinois, in my home kitchen. Today it is all about the little things. And I had a pretty good experience today, and I was able to locate some beautiful porterhouse pork chops. And we're going to cook those tonight with some cabbage, some pink lady apples, and onions. It's all going to get caramelized down in maple syrup, some Canadian Club whiskey, a little bit of apple cider vinegar. So we've got this really comforting side to go along with these pork chops. Let's go ahead and get these pork chops seasoned and get them into a preheated 450-degree oven, which mine's on the way up there, and we'll get this going. So here's my pork chops. We want to make sure to dry them off completely, like so. I'm going to get some salt. These are absolutely beautiful. I feel like I totally lucked out this morning finding these, and pork is still relatively inexpensive right now. We got 2 chops for under 10 bucks. So that's a beautiful thing. Good amount of salt and pepper. We're gonna go ahead and flip these guys. Some salt. Good amount of salt, good amount of pepper. These are about 1 inch thick. So let's get my pan preheating. There we go. Salt, pepper, everything's good. And why don't you follow me over here and we'll get searing. All right, so I've got my pan here and I've got it on high. It's getting hot. We're gonna add a little bit of canola oil to our pan, just enough to sear these pork chops off in. So you can see these guys both have a good amount of exterior fat. And so we're gonna start them both fat side down so that we can end up getting that to be extra crispy. Now remember, these got a bone in them, so you can get pork chops or just even pork loin chops without the bone. These are really cool because these are porterhouse, so they've got, as you can see here, the tenderloin right here, and then the loin on the far side. So tenderloin right here, and then the other side is the loin. So we're gonna get this fat in here going, get that crispy. My oven's preheated to 450, so we are good to go. Okay, once you get some color on that fat, you can go ahead and lay them down, and we're going to get a sear on one side. All right, looks like they're probably, yeah, just a nice light golden color on there, just like so. That's the amount of color I got on here. We got a 450-degree oven. These are going to take approximately 25 to 30 minutes to cook in a 400-degree oven. Right on in. And from there, we're going to come back over and go ahead and start putting together our beautiful cabbage, sweet onion, and pink lady apples. So the apples, we're just going to go ahead, take the tops right off like that, take the bottom off just like that, take the top off just like this, bottom off just like that. Oops. And then we're going to go ahead and just give them a quick peel. All right. So I've got my apples ready to go. I've got my cabbage. I've got 2 cloves of garlic. I'm just going to smash these guys down. Smash them down like that. Take off the peel. we're going to want to go ahead and just chop this up as fine as we possibly can. I'm going to show you how we're just going to make a little bit of cream garlic here. So I've got that just chopped up just like so. I'm going to add some salt and put salt right on top of that garlic that's just barely chopped up. Take your knife and push down and cream the garlic. So it basically just turns into a paste right here on your cutting board, just like so. So that's what it ends up looking like when it's been creamed up, and that's what we want to use for this dish today. All right, next up, we've got onions. So I've already peeled them and I've cut them in half. We're going to take off the root end, and then we're going to go ahead and just give them a quick French cut. We're going to end up caramelizing these onions, so we want them relatively thin. A bowl here. That's good. Once again, it doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to move as fast. You take your time with it. Enjoy it. So I'm going to take all these onions here, get them scooped up into here. Take it down. Both ends, just like so. Cut, cut. And so we want to keep them relatively thick. So these guys are just about half an inch thick is what we're looking for on our apples. That to the side. And then next, our cabbage. So this piece I've been cooking with a little bit, so I'm going to leave this root end on here and cut down on it. I'll save this chunk for maybe something a little bit later. And go ahead and we're just going to cut it into 1/4 inch thick strips. And that's going to go into this bowl right here. So you can see I've got my onions are ready to go, I've got my cabbage that's ready to go, and my apples that are ready to go. I've got my creamed garlic right here. The only last 2 ingredients that we're going to need to add is going to be some fresh thyme. Up. And then the last ingredient that is we're getting ready here. I've got a 1/2 teaspoon of ground coriander. You can use whole coriander if you want, but I just had ground in the house. So I'm going to take that and I'm going to take my thyme and put them together. And then from there I've got this is about almost 2 ounces of apple cider vinegar. I've got 1 ounce of Canadian Club whiskey, and then I've got 2 ounces of maple syrup that's going to go into this. And when we come back, the pork chops will be a little bit closer to being done, and we'll go ahead and put this together in about the last 10 minutes. Over about a tablespoon of butter to start. We'll end up using about 3 to 4 tablespoons in total. So we'll let our butter melt. I'm going to add in my onions. And the whole goal here is going to be just to caramelize them down. So here's where we're starting. And that's exactly what we want to see happening right now. So they're starting to get just past that point of being translucent and starting to get some caramelization, and that's what we're looking for. So at this point in time, I'm going to add some salt. Put it back over here. Add some cracked black pepper. And I'm going to add another tablespoon of butter into the pan. That mixed up. And this is all being done on high heat. This should cook relatively quickly. My pork chops are just about done. They're finishing up. So once you get it to that point, see it's They're all just kind of nice and melted and translucent. I'm going to add in our cabbage. All right, so our cabbage has started to slightly wilt, and we're stirring this the whole time that we're making it. And once it starts to kind of wilt down a little bit, then it's going to be time, of course, to add in our apples. I'm going to add another tablespoon about of butter. Stir that up. Everything's coming together really nicely here. I've got my apples, I've got my onions that have been caramelized, my cabbage is wilting down. And this is where I'm going to add my thyme and my coriander. Those both go in. I'm also going to add in the creamed garlic. So the creamed garlic goes in. Really just want to get this mixed up. You smell the garlic and the thyme. And so these guys right here, this is what this looks like now. It's just kind of all starting to come together in there. We're going to want to deglaze with our apple cider vinegar. Get any fond or anything that's on the bottom, any black parts. Then off heat, I'm going to add my whiskey. Put that back on and let that just cook off just for a second. This is all going really quick. Now I'm going to add in my maple syrup. And then I'm going to add in 2 ounces of water. I'm going to turn my burner on low, and I'm just going to let those go just for a minute. Let's go ahead and add a quick little pinch of salt. Oh, it just smells amazing in here. Just let that steam up just for a second. All right, so this has just been, I steamed it for like maybe about 3 minutes with the lid on, and now I've got this liquid at the bottom here, and I've got, everything is just all kind of come together. This is the point where we want to check it for seasoning. Make sure that we've got enough salt and pepper in there. That tastes really good. Could use a pinch more salt. And I'm going to finish it with some lemon zest. I'm going to do about half of this lemon here. And put that right in. All that off. So this has got a little bit of a kind of a broth in the bottom. That'll be the sauce here for these pork chops. And let's go ahead, take that off heat. Pull these pork chops out. Oh, they look absolutely beautiful, don't they? Look at that. I've got a nice caramelization. They are right around that medium that we're looking for. Beautiful, beautiful fats coming through. That natural jus right on top like so. Look at that. Ah, it's all caramely. Smells so good. And then we've got our apples and our cabbage and our caramelized onion. Ah, it smells so good. So if it's a little chilly out, or if it's a little cloudy, or hey, if the sun's even shining, put some of that jus down like so. There we go. Absolutely beautiful. Here we had it. I want to make one clarification. I did not use coriander tonight. I used caraway. So it was a half a teaspoon of caraway with the roasted pork chops and the cabbage and the apple and the maple syrup and the whiskey. We used caraway in there, a half a teaspoon, not coriander. From my kitchen to yours, have a beautiful evening. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you tomorrow night.